Welcome to this explainer. Look, we all know we're living in a world where just one compromised password can literally bring a massive, multinational company to its knees. So today, we're going to break down the sheer reality of enterprise cybersecurity. We are stripping away the confusing jargon to look at exactly what it takes to protect your digital assets, keep your operations running smoothly, and most importantly, avoid the kind of catastrophic breaches that make front-page news.
I want to kick things off by asking you a really direct question, just to pierce right through any false sense of corporate security you might have. Is an antivirus and a basic firewall actually enough to protect your organization today? Seriously, take a second to really think about what your current IT setup relies on right now.
Well, the stark reality? Absolutely not. No way. Cyber threats have evolved so rapidly, and relying on those bare minimum defenses is now a massive, glaring vulnerability. The attackers have moved on. They've gotten a lot sharper, and absolutely no industry is off limits anymore. You simply need a smarter approach.
Okay, so here is our roadmap for today. We'll quickly trace the journey from identifying common, fatal security mistakes all the way to executing a proactive strategy. That includes evaluating the distinct advantage of managed services, looking at a real-world case study, and finally, giving you a readiness checklist to take home. Let's dive in.
Let's jump right into our first section and expose the fatal flaws businesses make when they treat security like it's just an afterthought.
You know what's genuinely frightening? How many of these hidden dangers, like totally untested APIs or just sloppy cloud setups, only pop up on a company's radar after it is way too late? I mean, skipping basic software patches is bad enough, but relying on an incident response plan you've never even bothered to test, that's the literal definition of too little too late. It's frequent assessments and constant monitoring that actually prevent these common oversights from turning into full-blown disasters.
Section 2, recognizing those mistakes is a great first step, for sure. But now we really need to pivot and focus on what actually works when you're building a real defense. There's a core philosophy we kept seeing in our research, and it hits the nail right on the head. Security isn't just something you can buy off a shelf and plug in. It's about people, process, and technology working seamlessly together. You can't just buy a shiny new software package and call it a day. You absolutely have to have a holistic approach.
So what does a real strategy look like? Well, it's active, not passive. It means aggressive, scheduled vulnerability tests and locking down your web, mobile, and cloud environments. It requires continuous monitoring, instead of just checking things occasionally. But crucially, it also means training your human firewall, your employees. When you teach your staff how to spot scams and lay out a crystal-clear incident response plan in advance, you're finally tying your security back to your long-term business goals, rather than just ticking a boring IT checkbox.
Which naturally brings us to Section 3, and honestly, a massive hurdle for pretty much every IT director out there. How on earth do you implement all of this continuous monitoring and testing without completely draining your budget?
Funding a purely in-house team is frankly a notoriously painful reality. You are constantly footing the bill for elite professionals, incredibly expensive top-tier tools, and non-stop training. It's a huge financial drain. Contrast that with managed services, specifically looking at hubs like India, which deliver highly scalable, round-the-clock monitoring and lightning-fast response times at a fraction of the daily cost. Outsourcing this whole shebang gives your internal IT team the breathing room they actually need to focus on the big picture, while seasoned experts handle the daily threats in real time.
Moving into Section 4. Once you realize the sheer value of managed services, your next big headache is actually picking a vendor in a highly saturated market without just settling for the cheapest quote and totally regretting it later.
Vetting a partner has to go way beyond just comparing a spreadsheet of price quotes, right? First off, you've got to verify their industry certifications and make sure they aren't just phoning it in by running automated scripts. You need to scrutinize how deeply they understand your specific regulatory landscape. And, this is absolutely crucial, ensure they offer robust post-assessment support. You're looking for a partner who will actually stick around to help you fix the vulnerabilities they uncover, giving you real-world advice that actually fits your business model.
Let's dive into Section 5 and look at a concrete, real-world case study from our source material that actually hits all these high standards: Lumiverse Solutions.
They bring over 12 years of proven deep expertise to the table. And look, we aren't just talking about running basic network scans here. We're talking about delivering advanced penetration testing and aligning complex organizations with really strict global and regional frameworks.
Whether it's widely recognized standards like ISO and SOC 2 or specialized financial regulations, a true partner gets to know your operational constraints, figures out what matters most, and plugs the actual gaps.
Just look at their track record here. They've investigated over 850 real-world cybercrimes and run thousands of targeted audits across heavily regulated industries. But I want you to notice that third metric, over 4,500 awareness sessions. This proves the point we made earlier. The strongest technological defenses in the world are ultimately pretty useless if you aren't simultaneously reducing human layer risks by actively educating the people who actually use your systems every day.
And here is a massive indicator of trust. They are officially impaneled with institutions at the very heart of the economy, like the National and Bombay stock exchanges of India. When a security partner is trusted at that level, it's a huge signal that their end-to-end methodologies are genuinely battle-tested and that they have the structural capability to handle highly sensitive data.
All right, bringing us to our final section. To wrap up this explainer, we're going to turn the spotlight right back onto your own organization. Let's see how ready you really are for whatever tomorrow brings. I want you to look at this checklist and ask yourself honestly, are you actively monitoring your network 24/7, or are you kind of just hoping for the best? Have you actually stress-tested your backup and recovery strategy this year, or is it just some dusty theoretical document sitting on a shared drive somewhere? And what about your third-party vendors? Are they being held to the exact same strict compliance standards as your own internal team?
Because if you're sitting there realizing you're missing even a few of those vital defenses, well, you're relying on luck, not strategy. And let me tell you, the threat landscape simply will not wait for you to catch up. The question isn't whether your defenses are going to be tested, it's whether you'll be the one testing them on your own terms, or if a cybercriminal is going to beat you to it. So, what's it going to be? Are you truly ready?